Hi there. Welcome to the grocery store. Paper or plastic? Shut the fuck up! It was a rhetorical question. Hi there. How you doing? Is this all you got? This is it? I mean, 2 grocery carts full? Right. You're on a diet. You're watching your figure. That's 4 cases of Mountain Dew right there, right? Paper or plastic? I figured. You don't give a shit about the planet. Can you imagine this guy working in a grocery store? Well, folks, at one point in time, way back in the day, that most certainly was the case. Old Joe was a young Joe, 17 years old, one of the first jobs that I ever had. Not the first job that I ever had. My first job was at 15 years old, working at an asphalt plant, just being a laborer there, like sweeping floors and shit like that. But at 17, I would end up working in a grocery store. Just a mere year prior to me becoming a legal adult at 18, and when all of the trouble would really begin for me and I would begin to get arrested. I mean, really, it was probably only a few months after I turned 18 that I was going to jail for the very first time, which would signify quite a turning point in my life. I was already on that downward trajectory, but then I would go even further down with actually starting to get arrested. And maybe the things that I'll share with you in this video will kind of spotlight the fact that jail wasn't a far stretch when you think about where a guy like me doing the things that I was doing at the time, especially while working at this grocery store, would be heading. So with all of that, what do you say we go ahead and we dive? That's me pushing a mop. I know that looks like I got the bop it in my hand, right? What the world, Joe, pushing the mop? I'm just pushing a mop's all I'm saying. Vuh! God, that looks suspect. Head first up into this video, pushing the mop. We're just What? When I first got a job working in a grocery store as a bagger, I was still in high school. I was 17 years old, and I was pretty much getting ready to drop out of school. I think I was in the 9th grade for the second time. It sucks when you go to high school and you flunk everything during your freshman year, and then you watch all of the people who were in your class become sophomores or juniors or whatever comes after being a freshman, and you're in the 9th grade again with a whole bunch of people that, were beneath you. Really, I mean, they're just coming out of middle school. So it was a really weird thing. Anyways, if I did bad the first year of high school in my freshman year, flunking everything, well, I certainly didn't give a shit my second year. And add to that I would also get my driver's license. And at 17 years old, getting my driver's license, you couldn't tell me nothing. I began to skip school, but not just one day or one class at a time, weeks at a time, months at a time. I'll never forget the day that my father found out that I had pretty much dropped out of school. He drove by the school, saw that my car wasn't there. I don't even know why he was driving by the school. That's so far out of his way now that I think about that. 30 years ago, my God, the things that hindsight will let you know 3 centuries later. But anyways, he saw that my car wasn't there. He went in and said, "Hey, where's little Joe Guerrero Jr. at?" And the principal was like, "Who? That motherfucker ain't been here in like 3 weeks. He gonna need about $350. Boy, my dad was so mad. Oh God, he was so mad. Came home and boy, he was mad. And me trying to explain it, 17-year-old me, I wish I could just see myself so I could be like, boy, you need more ass whoopings. But my rationale was, hey, look, man, I'm a working man now. I'm about to be 18 years old. I got my driver's license. I got a whip and I got a job, daddy. I got a job. I'm working in the grocery store. I'm bagging people's groceries. I'm changing people's lives one checkout at a time. Paper or plastic, shut the fuck up because I don't even care. I'm bagging this shit in plastic till you tell me not to. Because I gotta be honest, if you've never worked in a grocery store, you don't know how difficult it is. Bagging in paper versus plastic. Plastic is just so much easier to work with. I don't know why. So, with the fact that I pretty much dropped out of school right then and there, and I was working like nights at the grocery store, I went in and I said, hey, just want to let you guys know I'm available to work during the days now. And they were like, oh my God, Did you graduate early? I mean, you're only 17 years old. How are you available to work during the days? That is amazing. We could have a management position opening up soon, and you could fill the spot. Pump the brakes now, shorty. I done dropped out. I done dropped out of school. Whoa, what? You done dropped out? Do you know what your chances of success are now that you've done dropped out of school and you're working at a grocery store, stick? Yeah, you can forget the management, but we got this mop, right? We got this, boy, we got this mop. You can play that joint like the flute. So they started letting me work there during the day. And during the day, you know, that was great. I was working there probably 5 days a week. I think Monday through Friday, I was working it like it was a full-time job. I don't even remember what I was making. Oh my God. What were they paying me? $6 an hour? $6.25, maybe $7 an hour? There was no way a growing man like myself was going to be able to survive on this. And we're talking 20 years ago. We're talking 2000, right around that time frame, 1999, somewhere around there. But during this time, I also had a side job. I had a part-time job, which was selling the devil's lettuce. Now, I don't think my, employment knew about this, and I hate to mention this now in case any of them ever watch these videos and think, damn, Joe was a pretty good worker. But I was also selling the devil's lettuce right out of the grocery store. The same guy asking you paper or plastic also could be asking you potentially, is it an eighth or a quarter or a half? You want an onion? And I'm not talking about something over there in the produce section, though you could meet me over there and then beeline straight to the restrooms. We can make it happen. We could do that transaction and make that shit happen. So while working in the grocery store, I was also selling the devil's lettuce. Small time, nickel and dime, and I mean, you're not looking at El Padrone here, okay? No George Young. But that was always interesting. Having the customer, not the grocery store customer, having my customers come in. And we don't got no cell phones at this point, not really. I can't remember if I had one or if I didn't have one. So, hey, there's no texting. It's all eye-hand coordination. Like, hey, the bathroom. As I'm bagging this old lady's groceries, right? Oh, man, speaking of that, there were quite a few perks to working in the grocery store, and I'll share those in this video as well. But one of the perks that I remember is, there would be these elderly folks that come in there, and sometimes they would ask me to go get their vehicle and pull their vehicle up to the front, and they might tip me like a whole shiny quarter. Here you go. But hey, that didn't even matter in comparison to getting the ability to push they whip. Sometimes they had BMWs or Mercedes, and even though it was only from the parking spot to the front of the store, man, you couldn't tell Joe shit. I got all 4 windows down. Music all the way up, backing that bitch out the spot, looking in the rear view and the side mirrors, because you ain't got no backup cameras in 1999. Pulling that shit up to the front, putting their groceries in the car, and then getting that whole shiny nickel of a tip right there. My God, that was pretty cool, getting to drive people's cars. Felt like a little bit of a valet person. And the grocery store kind of frowned upon getting tips. They'd be like, hey, Joe, look, we see you bringing up some of these folks' vehicles for them. If they try to offer you a tip, you shouldn't take it. And I'm hearing this like, yes, a boss. Yes, a boss. I hear you. And as soon as we get out the door, I'm like, you can't even imagine what they're paying me in here. Is that all you got? Don't you got a checkbook? You can't write me a check? Oh, God, I just brought your car up. Oh, shit. Damn right. Shit. I'm making $6.25 an hour. But anyways, getting back to selling the devil's lettuce, the ganja, out of the grocery store. So sometimes I would know that a certain customer would be coming at a certain time. Because again, if you ain't got the phones, you got to coordinate shit. I go to work at 3 o'clock. Be there at 3:30. Don't even say nothing to me because I'll be bagging somebody's groceries. Go to the bathroom, the handicapped stall, in the toilet paper dispenser, the black box on the wall. Hold the front of it. Hit it to the side one time and pull it forward. It's going to open every time. I'm going to have that eighth waiting for you right there. Leave me that $15. And sure as shit, like clockwork, like a glove, smooth as a well-oiled machine. Shit worked and went off without a hitch every single time. Yeah, it did. Another perk that came from this and, getting more devious with it, right? So with the fact that I'm working during the days now, I start to get a little bit more, liberties. They start to entrust old Joe, young Joe at the time, a lot more. Even start speaking of a potential assistant manager job that could potentially be coming my way. And you would imagine at 17 years old, you hearing something like that. You're like, damn, if I make assistant manager, I might be making a whopping $8 an hour. I should really play my cards right so that I can get this. But I wasn't thinking that. So not only was I mopping floors, bagging groceries, cleaning bathrooms, I was also taking the trash out through the back of the store. And let me tell you something. They don't entrust taking the trash out to just anybody. This is a major ordeal that takes place right here. Now, first, they got to cut the alarm. They got to cut the security system off because we're opening the back door where an alarm is guaranteed to go off if the alarm is activated, if it's armed. They disarm the alarm. Back door opens. I'm taking trash out. But you know, I ain't shit during this time. I ain't worth the dirt on the damn floor that I was sweeping up. Because it wouldn't take my little devious ass long to realize that right near this area was where they kept all the fucking beer. All the beer was stored back here. So before long, as I was taking trash out, I was dumping cases and cases and cases of beer into the trash can. Now, I couldn't spend a lot of time with this. I had to be quick. This was like a heist right here because they got the cameras. So I'd wheel my trash can out with like 12 cases of frickin' beer. And once the door shut, I would have to beeline straight across the back alley of the store to a field, dump the cases real quick, and then get back in like nothing was happening. I did that quite a bit. And in fact, not only was I selling the devil's lettuce, I was bootleg selling alcohol out this bitch. But yeah, that's what it was. So, you make $6.25 an hour, but on the ass end, you're making up for it, that's for sure. Some other crazy things about working at the grocery store, other incentives, driving the cars, doing the valet service, getting the beer, having the bathroom as basically my office. Well, because I'm working during the days and I'm working like 8 hours a day, I would get a lunch break. So on my lunch break, I would leave and I would go get plastered. I would go smoke a couple of bowl packs with whoever I was hanging out with at the time and come back in that joint blitzed. Trying to bag groceries looking like I'm Siamese. Hey, woo! Oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world, Craig. Smelling straight like marijuana, I know that I was. Did they drug test? No, it was a grocery store. We're talking about 1999. Shit was wild back then. So here was the crazier thing. I'd spend my entire lunch break smoking the devil's lettuce, coming back in smelling like a frickin' Woodstock festival, and I ain't even eating nothing. But now I'm starving, I got the munchies. Bitch, I work in a grocery store. This joint was like the biggest pantry ever. I was making crazy combinations. Chicken tenders with the queso cheese. Like, man, and I would steal all of this shit. I was stealing everything. Boy, I'd be going to the bathroom. Hey, I gotta take a break. Yeah, my stomach bubbling. That joint bubbling. And I would hide everything. I'm eating on the shitter. Oh, God. Just think of the fecal matter in there. They talk about your toothbrush in the bathroom and how disgusting that can be. Imagine eating in a bathroom. That's what I was doing. And then, on top of that, my little toilet paper dispenser where you hit it the one way and open it, that was my cupboard. And I would have so much shit stuffed up in there. Pickles and yoo-hoos. I mean, just the straight stoner pantry, right? And then other people would go into the bathroom and I'd be so nervous. Oh my God. This dude's going in there with a roll of toilet paper like, holy shit, he's about to change that shit out. If he opens that up and sees all of that shit that I done got stashed up in there, I'm caught. So I have to run over there. Hey, I got it. I'm the bagger / maintenance man around here. I'm the janitor. I got that. It's beneath you, butcher, deli, produce worker, to have to change out the toilet paper. Allow me to do so for you. Got to make sure we don't get caught. So yeah, that was always crazy. Coming in that joint, high as a beep. Another wild time, one of the wildest times that I remember from working in this grocery store was during this time, I'm smoking a lot of devil's lettuce, I'm hanging out with people, and I get introduced to the Robitussin, right? Now, this is a horrible, horrible thing to do. To drink an entire bottle of this which is disgusting. It's not good. You don't do this. But I did this, right? I had friends that were boosting this shit back there in 1999. The robo-tripping was becoming a thing. And I only did this like once or twice. I did not enjoy this at all. But basically, once you drank this entire bottle, you would be deathly ill. I mean, it's poison, for God's sake. So you get super sick, you feel like you're gonna die, and then you throw up. Now, once you throw up, it's Rap City after that. Because as soon as I threw up, I was like, boom! I felt like I was up here watching myself. I was like, holy shit, did I just die? Is this an out-of-body experience that I'm having right now? Like, this shit is wild. I am tripping balls. I'm seeing trails. Shit is fun. I feel like I've eaten some mushrooms. And the fucked up thing about all of this is I did this, and I had to go to work in like an hour, right? Now, going to work stoned was one thing, but going to work when you tripping, is a totally different thing. I'm talking about, hey, paper or plastic, and I'm putting the bag over my head like, hey, I'm gonna go get the carts out of the parking lot. And I literally would have to do that in an effort to try to hold myself up. Like, holy shit, man, this is wild. My legs feel like Stretch Armstrong right here. I think about myself nowadays and some anger problems and what's crazy is whether it was smoking or the robo-tripping situation, nobody ever said anything like, Joe, you okay? Eyes the size of freaking cartoon. I'm good. Yep, I'm fucking good. I am good. Nobody ever said anything. But I think about like things that I deal with now at almost 40 years old. I'm 39. And then I think about me at 17 years old and I had a fucking anger problem then too. I'll be out there getting the carts out of the parking lot and somebody will like back up or like cut me off and I'm like, hey, fuck you. Going, damn, they're getting to fighting in the parking lot. But nobody said shit about it. Now, to be fair, that mention of Joe becoming an assistant manager, there was never any more mention of that. Probably with Joe coming to work reeking of weed, tripping balls, balancing myself in the parking lot off of a shopping cart, and also trying to fight patrons of the grocery store in the parking lot who I felt like were disrespecting me. I hadn't even been to prison yet. I didn't even know about disrespect and how important respect really was. But working in a grocery store and getting carts out of a parking lot prepared me, at least just a little bit. Toward the end of my 10-month career working as a grocery store bagger, which was one of my favorite jobs. I had so much fun in there, eating whatever I wanted. Man, I'm young, the girls are working in there. Hey, I'm Joe up in that joint, man. They was loving me in there. But toward the end, one of the final things that would end up happening was I got in a really, really bad car accident. I remember that. I wrecked this car. I got shot out of the car through the sunroof. I was messed up bad. Supposed to be at work the next day. I'm coming out of the hospital the next day. I literally went to my job and walked in there looking like a fucking Walking Dead zombie. I got blood all over like whatever clothes I had. And I'm like, hey, and my head's swollen. I could stick my finger in my head like this far before I touched my skull. That's how swollen it was. Both of my eyes were bloodshot red from all of the blood vessels getting busted in my eyes, cuts, scrapes all over my arms. Yeah, I was super messed up. Stitches. I had stitches in my face somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but in my eyelid, as a matter of fact. Jesus Christ, it was in my eyelid. And, I got to walk in there and I'm like, hey, manager, boss man, I'm not going to be able to work for a while. And they was like, damn, what the world happened to you? So I told them and I was out of work for about, I think 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that. I can't remember. But then when I went back to work, it just wasn't the same. I didn't have my car. Shit wasn't sweet. I was stuck there. I couldn't leave when I wanted to leave, and I ended up just quitting. No real rhyme or reason to it. Just said, fuck it. And that was it. In hindsight, when I look back at it, I think to myself, what if I didn't quit? There were dudes who were old. The manager of the store looked like he'd been working in grocery work in a grocery store his entire life. The guy that worked in the meat department, man, this dude was so like smooth with it. He had a Toyota 4Runner, I'll never forget. He would always park it in the very back of the parking lot, pull into work, back that bitch into the parking spot, because he got to look back because he ain't got no rear view camera. He got the music bumping. He'd be walking out to his car, twirling his keys and shit, whistling Dixie like you couldn't tell this dude nothing. He was super fly. And bitch, you work at a grocery store. You're like 40. But I think to myself, I wonder what would have happened had I never quit that job. Because it was quitting that job that would ultimately lead or be a contributing factor to that downward trajectory that I was on, where I was going to end up doing even worse stuff, more bad things that would lead to me going to jail for the first of many fucking times. I'm not saying working in a grocery store would have saved me, but it is interesting to think what could have happened. Of all the jobs that I ever had, that job right there, that was one of my favorites, ironically enough. Folks, that's all I got. This was a story that I wanted to share with you that I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace!